There's a reason why everybody wants to sell courses. It makes a lot of sense, but most people don't do it right. This is why a lot of course creators are very frustrated with the results. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to outperform 99% of course creators in 2025. I'm Lane, I've sold multiple six figures in online courses. I've helped hundreds of people build online course businesses, and I have a multiple six-figure per year online business. I can show you exactly the 3 mistakes to avoid and the 6 things that if you do these, you will outperform 99% of course creators in 2025. With that, let's get started with why most course creators fail. They launch a course that doesn't solve a problem to people who don't want it for a price that doesn't make sense. So let's break this down. They launch a course that doesn't solve a problem. Your online course has to solve a problem. I like to think of it as escape arrival. What are you helping people escape from? What are you helping them arrive to? And what are the milestones along the way that they need to learn or know or do in order to solve the problem? So if you present a course that is about something, right? Your course is just about your topic. It's not going to work as well as a course that is actually solving a problem and providing a clear path. The second mistake that people make is they launch a course that doesn't solve a problem to people who don't want it. People think that everybody's gonna want my course, right? They're watching my content, they're on YouTube, they're subscribed, they're answering my emails, they're opening, they're clicking, they're going to want my course. That's not always true. You have to know what people actually want. And a lot of times people get an idea that, okay, I wanna make a course about XYZ topic and it may solve a problem, but if people don't want it, then it's not gonna work. And the third thing is a price that doesn't make sense. Pricing your course is a massive part of this. And it's not always about pricing it low enough. Sometimes it's about pricing it high enough where it has the right perceived value. You have to get these 3 things right. What I'm gonna show in the next part of this video is 6 steps that solve all these problems, but also will put you ahead of everyone else in the online course creation space. All right, so the first step to outperforming 99% of the competition when it comes to creating courses is to do the research. Now, do not be intimidated by the word research. The way I do this and the way I teach my students to do this is actually pretty simple. What you're trying to figure out here is what are the main pain points that your audience has and what are their desires? So there's really 2 questions involved in this. A question that involves challenge. Okay, what are the challenges that you're facing? And then desires, or what are goals? What are the challenges you're facing and what are the desires that you have? When you go to your audience and you ask them, what are your challenges regarding your topic? So like for me, my first online business is called Preaching Donkey. I would go to my audience and I would say, what are your biggest challenges when it comes to writing a sermon, delivering a sermon, evaluating a sermon, doing research for a sermon? What are your biggest desires when it comes to your preaching? What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And then the answers to those questions informs what course I should build. Because remember, one of the biggest mistakes that online course creators make is building a course that doesn't solve a problem. So if you do the research, then you know what people are facing, you know what they want, and you can build a course that both solves a problem and is what they want. Because remember, most people launch a course that doesn't solve a problem to people who don't really want it. And if you do the research, it solves that problem. A simple way to ask these questions is just to email whoever is currently on your list, or make sure that you ask this to whatever audience you currently have. If that's on social media, if it is just friends and family who are interested in your niche, you got to start somewhere with who is paying attention to you currently. Do the research. You'll be very, very glad that you did. Okay, the second thing that you need to do to outperform 99% of course creators is to create a flow. Here's what I'm talking about. You have to have in your mind a very clear path that people are going to take from your content to your lead magnet to your course. So we talk all the time about content, lead magnet, email funnel, offer, the 4 steps to building an online business that's sustainable and can work on autopilot in the background of your life. But for your exact course, you need to think through an exact flow. And so you want to think about the content that you're making and the lead magnet that's attached. These have to flow directly into the course that you're making. So for example, let's go back to what I was talking about with Preaching Donkey. Let's say that I'm making a course on how to write a message. My content leading up to the launch of that course should be about how to write a message, because it would just make sense that if people are watching content about how to write a message, they're going to be probably interested in the course that's coming up about how to write a message. And the lead magnet needs to have something to do with how to write a message as well. In fact, I did this. One of the courses that I put out on that brand was called Preaching Jumpstart, which was a beginner course to how to write a sermon. So I did a series of content on the 10 steps to preparing a message. I had a lead magnet called the 10-step sermon prep checklist, and that led directly into my course called Preaching Jumpstart. So it was a flow of content lead magnet course that worked in the moment, like in real time. I was making this content, putting people into the lead magnet, which put them in my email funnel and offered them the course. But then it also worked on the back end as an evergreen funnel, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So once you've done your research, you really have to think about what is the flow that people are going to be put through to go from my content to my lead magnet to my course. All right, number 3 is build a useful course. Now I'm going to define what a useful course is in 3 ways. Number 1, the course needs to solve a problem. We talked about that. What pain point are you addressing, and how is the course addressing that pain point and getting people from where they're stuck to where they want to be? The second thing it needs to do is provide a path, a clear path. This is one of the things that people misunderstand about why people buy courses. People don't buy courses for information as much as they buy courses for aggregation. They can get the information anywhere. They can piece together the information that might be in your course or might be in my course for free on Google. And this is one of the chief complaints that people have who have never bought courses or went through courses or sold courses. They say, why would you sell information when it's free? Well, the reason why you can sell it is, number 1, people buy it. You can only sell things that people buy. And as long as people are buying them, then there is a market value to them. But the reason why some are more bought than others, like some work more than others, is this right here. Are you providing a clear path? Your course has to provide a roadmap, a clear path, where all this information that they could do, all the steps that they could take are aggregated, synthesized, and simplified into a clear path where it's like, first do this, then learn this, then apply it in this way, then do this. And if you do that, it will set you apart. And then third, cut the fluff. People are busy. You do not need to put as much as you possibly can into your course. In fact, eliminate more than is actually in there, and you'll be well ahead of most course creators. All right, number 4, you want to launch well. You get one opportunity to launch your course for the first time. There's obviously a lot of tools that you can use to host and launch your online course. The best one is Kajabi. It's actually not just a course host. It's your entire online business under one roof on one platform. lanesebring.com/Kajabi. You can learn about how you can get a free trial, 30 days, and you can get some pretty cool exclusive bonuses. So if you're looking for like, where do I put all this together and how do I piece it together on a platform and what's the best, lanesebring.com/Kajabi. You can get a free trial of Kajabi for 30 days and the 3 exclusive bonuses that I offer to help you get the best possible start. So once you're on Kajabi, you're going to launch the course well. Now, how you're going to do this is the pre-launch. So pre-launch, and I'm going to put priming in there together. You want to get people ready for your online course. So think about when you go to see a movie, they're always showing you previews of what's coming up next because they have a captive audience. In fact, I went to a movie recently with my family. We went and saw Moana 2, and my girls were like, why is there so many previews? Like, why did they show all these previews in this movie? And one of the things I mentioned to them is I said, look, it makes sense for the studios and it makes sense for the theaters. They have a captive audience of people who watch movies. Like, they know we watch movies because we're sitting in a theater. We've bought a ticket, we're sitting there, and they have our attention. it would make perfect sense for them to show us a preview of what's coming because we are moviegoers. And so they want to show us what is coming so that we'll buy tickets and keep coming to movies. So the studios, when they put out a movie, they don't just build it in secret and then release it to the world and say, here's our movie, come watch. But a lot of times course creators do that, where they'll just kind of make a course that they just know is going to be awesome. And then once it's done, they just put it for sale and they send it out to their list and they say, I have a course and you should love it. And then they're really disappointed when it has a lackluster response. Well, the reason why this happens is they didn't pre-launch it and they didn't prime their audience. You have to do this. The way to do a simple way to do it is to do content leading up to the release of your course that teases your course's release. You can do this in a few different ways. You can do it with a live webinar. This is one of my favorite ways to sell a course, where you provide some real tangible value. And at the end of the webinar, you offer the course and say, hey, listen, if you want to take this further, jump into my course. You could do it where you release a series of content the week before the course comes out, maybe in a pre-recorded workshop format. I've done this before where I've done 3 pre-recorded sessions where I release one every day for 3 days. And on the last one, I open the doors to the course. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but basically you just want to make sure that the course isn't a complete surprise to everybody. You want to make sure they're ready for it. Now, pricing is the other thing. You have to price in a way that makes sense. This doesn't mean price low, and it doesn't necessarily mean price high. What this means is you have to price it appropriately. And that is a very easy thing to figure out. People get really caught up on pricing. Here's what I say. If this is a mini course, meaning that it solves one problem and it solves it quickly and it solves it without a whole lot of fluff, the price point that is really, really like the sweet spot is somewhere between $50 on the low end and $200 on the high end. $50 to $200, most people don't have to think that hard or that long about whether it's right for them, and they can basically grab it on impulse. You want that because if it's a mini course, it doesn't need to be something that they think about for a long time. And if they're in your audience and they're primed and they love you and they like you and they know you and they trust you and all those things are in place, then it's probably something they're going to want. If it's a longer course where it's more of like a flagship course, in most niches, that's going to be somewhere between 200 and 500. And if you want to go over 500 up to like 2,000, you can do that, but it's just going to require a little bit more sophisticated selling. So again, 50 to 200, lower than 50, and it doesn't have the perceived value in almost every niche. You don't want to go lower than 50 for most courses. And over 200, it's no longer impulse. 200 to 500 for the flagship shows that it's got more value because it's at that kind of minimum floor of 200, but it doesn't go over 500 because, it's just harder to convince someone. They need to think about it a lot more. And I really think the sweet spot for most courses that I've seen is right at $297. Now, there's a little trick that you can do where you offer multiple tiers of pricing. So you might have a $297 base course and a $397 premium option that throws in a few more bonuses, or maybe a call with you or some feedback directly from you on their work. What this does is it allows them to make a choice now between two options that both result in them buying your course, versus one price where the option is like, do I buy or do I not buy? It switches to which one of these options should I buy, which is a great shift. The fifth thing that you can do to put yourself ahead of 99% of course creators is to attend my Turn What You Know into Dough workshop. What this is going to do is it's going to show you the complete picture of your online business so that you're not just focused on how do I build a course and launch a course, but you're thinking more holistically about how does my content relate to my email list and relate to the courses I should build, and how do I put all this together to make my first consistent $1,000 per month in passive income in this workshop, which is free and on demand. Like, you can go watch it right now for free at lanesebring.com/workshop. I'm going to show you the 4 steps to making your first $1,000 consistently. This one workshop alone that is completely free and on demand. You can watch it today, will put you ahead of almost everyone else out there trying to do an online business. All right, finally, number 6, put your course in evergreen. What do I mean by this? I mean, don't just launch your course and let it just sit there and die a slow and painful death. Put it in evergreen. This means that it's in your funnel. When people are watching your content, they're being offered your lead magnet. When they get your lead magnet, they're put on your email list. And when they're on your email list, they are offered your course. And once you have more than one course, you can decide which course you offer first and which you offer second. And if you add a membership site or a coaching package or whatever you do, you can put all that in your funnel. What this does is it gives you that passive element. You keep making content, the content keeps working for you, doing the heavy lifting, bringing people in, and you're not reliant on launching every quarter and having these big windfalls. You can just have a steady stream of people buying courses every single month as they are coming into your funnel. These 6 steps and this plan will put you ahead of almost everybody. But you probably have questions about how to build out a course from a technical perspective, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that in Kajabi right here in this video. So click right there and I'll see you in that video.